Right.
Oh, my. It could be Saturday morning cartoons for some of these teams, depending on what happens this weekend.
Sounds like George Jetson's wife's shopping spree.
Meet George Jetson.
So we're going to go through some teams, some games that they play this weekend, and then I have some other questions leading into the final weekend of the regular season. Let's start in the Big Ten with a few teams. First, Penn State. Talk about chances to get in. Did he more work to do? They face or host Maryland on Sunday. Thoughts on what Penn State may need to do to make the tournament?
Couple wins, right? At least.
I think Penn State needs 2 wins, but the beauty of it is they get Maryland, and Maryland would be a quality victory for them.
And they're lousy away from home.
Maryland's at Penn State, so they're going to be in Happy Valley. I expect Penn State to win this game, and then, win your Thursday game in the Big Ten tournament in Chicago, and you'll be solidly in the bubble.
Rico, you're more of a Big Ten hoops guy than I am. How many teams are going to get in? 9 is what I see, and I know this conference isn't very good, so I just don't get it.
Because it's 9, but you have to look at it. They're filler teams.
Okay.
They're the teams that – and this great team's going to play a Big Ten team. And this great team's going to play – it's a bye game in college football is what a lot of Big Ten teams
Well, the
are.
way the Big Ten teams have been treating this the last few years, you're right.
It's a bye game, but probably 8, maybe 9. It depends. But I think like Penn State, Wisconsin, and Michigan, all 3 of those are teetering on those final spots.
Yeah, well, let's get to those, or 2 of those teams you just mentioned. Let's get to Wisconsin, who go to Minnesota on Sunday, and get to Michigan, who go to Indiana on Sunday. What do they have to do? Or is Michigan already in your mind?
So Wisconsin's got the free space, right?
Wisconsin has Minnesota, who kind of overachieved last night. They had the lead for all of nothing in the game. When the clock hit 0, they hit the final shot. That was the only lead that they had. Poor Rutgers. We're talking about karma. Good for you, Rutgers. You didn't want to move your game against Minnesota. Take that L. But
Michigan, Indiana's the other one.
Michigan, Indiana's going to be difficult. Indiana got crushed at home. Iowa just went in there and just thumped them.
That's ugly.
It's senior day. And, Michigan, how much do they have left in the tank after double overtime last night? Indiana's been sitting around for 5 days stewing. It's going to be – now, if Michigan wins against Indiana, that's great because then you need one more victory in the Big Ten tournament and you're probably in. But if you lose at Indiana, got to run that table.
Well, and if they lose against Indiana, which they're going to be dogs – right? Senior night, Assembly Hall, Indiana, tough place to play off a loss. How much are they going to look back to last night and go, we blew it?
Up
what? 7 in overtime.
Okay, David, you may want to turn your mic off. It's not last night. They're going to go back to losing to your chips. Even though it was back in December.
What a great night.
If you beat Michigan, it was January.
I think it was December.
Or was it? It was late December.
It was December, yeah.
You beat them, we're not having this discussion. But you don't have any signature victories, but you got a really, really, really bad loss because your chips stink.
They're terrible.
Like
not to break down Chippewa basketball, but we're atrocious.
UAD and Oakland would crush them.
With all our injuries? Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what's going to – last night would have been a feather in the cap. You had an opportunity – and you didn't take advantage of it.
Well, Michigan has, I think, 3 quad 1 wins all year. They didn't get any until the month of February. Like, they're running out of gas. They're running out of opportunities. Everybody said, well, the Big Ten, they'll have their chances.
But they
need to win them.
Your quad 1 wins are fluent because you got Northwestern.
That was one that was
But Maryland, if they lose,
it starts to fall.
They may not be quad 1 anymore. So, Wisconsin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's enough on
You know
Michigan.
what? If you want more, how about this? Download the podcast. Evan and I spent like 35 minutes on that this morning.
You're making me upset about Michigan.
5-star zone.
We go a lot deeper.
Real quick, just a quick on your thoughts on them, Rico, because they are the last 4 in on bracketology. We know that's not gospel.
Right.
But Mississippi State and Nevada, do you see them as in for sure, or can they do something to knock themselves out? Mississippi State has Vanderbilt this weekend.
Let's win.
And Nevada has UNLV.
Probably a win. So, yeah. this goes to you, David, since you're a Michigan fan. Let's face it, this is for the Michigan fans out there. Win as many games as you can over the next week. And you're going to be watching all of these minor conference tournaments because you want the favorites to win.
The locks of their conference tournaments have to win.
You do not want upset.
You want the number 1 seed. You don't want to see the number 10 seed go on a run and all of a sudden now they're going to take 2 from that conference. You only want them to take 1 from a bad conference.
Let's touch on North Carolina. Huge game this weekend versus Duke on Saturday. Now, I want to say this before we get to their chances here because remember what they did last year, Duke? They ended Coach K's year and career the way they did, and now Duke may have a chance to knock them out of the tournament possibly. Mm-hmm. Talk about their chances this weekend.
They've been playing better, but they're the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde team, talking about the Tar Heels. Like they were a disappointment for much of the season. They've won, I think, 3 straight now, Rico.
Yeah. But
they hung with Duke on the road at Cameron earlier this season. Like, they should win this game. And they're on the bubble. They have to win it.
They won 3 straight. Yeah. It's Duke. This is one of those, to sound cliche, if I got to get you motivated to play Duke, then you need to just leave.
But if you need an idea of where college basketball's at, neither of these teams are ranked. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're just a very casual college basketball fan, Duke, North Carolina, both meetings this year, neither team ranked.
Yeah. I was about to say, out of the Champions Classic, only 1 team is ranked.
Wow.
Duke,
wow.
Kentucky, Michigan State, Kansas.
1 out of 4.
Yeah, 1. So, yeah, but I think if they beat Duke, the thing that helps out North Carolina and Michigan, you're a brand name. Brand names, they get the nod. Case in point, 2020, Michigan State was a brand name, and they got gifted. That was Tom Izzo's gift. They probably didn't belong in the tournament, but they got to be in the play-in game. That was the compromise.
One more team that is in the first 4 out I want to touch on is Arizona State.
Ooh.
They are at USC on Saturday. Can they find themselves into the tournament?
Rico, this is the thing to consider. Arizona State and North Carolina both beat Michigan. So these are all teams in the same tier, and you're not getting the tiebreaker. Arizona State had that awesome buzzer beater against their rivals. That's a big marquee win.
Yeah, it was like a 50-foot shot.
He heaved it from beyond half court.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a good thing for you, David, because remember that was a game that Hunter said he was going to drop 20 on them, and they got beat by 20. Arizona State
needed those 20, by the way.
Arizona State is a team that, you want them to collapse and fall if you're a Michigan fan because they own the tiebreaker over you. And you're never going to get a chance to play them again this season.
All right, so here's a question that I have here. It's right now on bracketology, the locked-in number 1s. Bama, Kansas, Purdue, Houston. Is there any way any of those teams can fall out of the number 1 seed? And here's the choice that I have for you to maybe make a number 1. Mm-hmm. It is UCLA because they face Arizona
this
on
weekend.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Can UCLA beating Arizona push them to a number 1, or are those number 1s locked in?
No. They're not locked in. I think UCLA, I think Kansas State is in the waiting room. Kansas
They're
State.
They're also number 2 right now.
They've beaten Kansas. So this is the team that's knocked off some teams in the Big 12. Big 12 is recognized. Oh, by the way, your snow's falling. This is Purdue is the one team that is struggling. Last night, Purdue won. Shout out to Matt Painter. You know what you do when you're up 3, David?
You foul.
You foul. You know what Matt Painter did that Brad Underwood did not do?
He fouled.
They fouled and fouled and fouled and fouled
and
left with a 2-point victory. Shocking.
Someone send that footage to Izzo. Maybe pass it along to him.
I tried. Called beating your head against the wall. Ended up being a 3-day argument that we had.
You don't normally blow your top on social media. But I saw your feed right after that happened. I'm like, oh no, Rico's not happy because it's indefensible, inexcusable.
Because it was a conversation we actually had, and he's just like, no, you just play good defense.
No,
it's like Tom. I'll give you because he won't play a zone. I'm like, you know what? I'll give you your rationale for the zone. It's antiquated, but whatever. You're up 3. All they can hit is 2.
The math's not mathing, Tom.
what happens if he then misses
And then
they
gets
get
the
this
putback
and they
and
turn around, I'm going to put this in. Tom, it's the equivalent of getting 2 onside kicks in a row. Probably not going to happen.
How about you foul and you box out on the boards? Hello?
Yeah.
Fundamentals. Don't screw it up.
And then
hit your free throws.
want to close it out with this team here because they screwed us over, this show over earlier in the week on a bet because it was senior day and they did not win. They didn't decide to play. But they do have Texas Tech on Saturday. That is Oklahoma State. Do they have a shot to still get in, or is it over for them?
I hope it's over. They screwed me twice, last weekend and Monday night.
Oklahoma State, I think, they're in Michigan's category. Oklahoma State has to be playing, I think their championship ends on Saturday. They have to be, win or lose, you're playing on Saturday, you're going to make it in. For Michigan, win or lose, if you're playing on Sunday, you're in. Because that means you've knocked off some teams in your conference that's going to elevate you. But you can't go out there and lose your first game. And if you're Michigan, David, and this is also on the podcast, I'll give you a sample. If you lose to Indiana, that's okay because you'll get Purdue. And I think Michigan matches up well with Purdue right now.
Well, they have the size, one of the few teams that can.
Hunter and Edey battled it out.
Well, you got Reed, too.
But I'm saying, but now Jet, but Kobe Buffkin is a different Kobe. I think Purdue's guards have run out of gas. That's a game. You knock Purdue off on Friday, you're in. I'll leave it at that.
And this is the time of year where Purdue likes to lose. Watch it. Keep an eye on it.
No, they normally wait for like the Sweet 16.
Oh, sorry.
Death, taxes, Matt Painter loses the Sweet 16 game.
Definitely subscribe to the 5-Star Zone. Get that now so you can get the information on the final weekend of college basketball. That is your college